The Jamie Dyer Show.
This is Jamie Dyer and I'm here today with the cast of Little Women, just some of the cast. Would you like to introduce yourselves and the role that you're playing, please?
Hello, I'm Katie and I'm playing the role of Marmee.
Hiya, I'm Lucy. I'm playing the role of Jo March.
Hi, I'm Lydia and I'm playing the role of Meg March.
Hi, I'm Amy and I'm playing the role of Beth March.
Hi, I'm Laura and I'm playing the role of Amy March.
People who aren't familiar with the story, it's a very famous story. Can you just give people a rundown about what the story is?
Yeah, so Little Women, the musical, is based on Little Women, the book, which was written by Louisa May Alcott in 1865. It was originally written in two parts and it's over time become adapted into many stage productions and now a musical.
Quite an important piece, isn't it? Some of the themes discussed with it are quite timely, you might say, as in they're still quite up to date.
Yeah, the themes, especially of women's rights and the attitudes of women, are definitely very prominent in today's society.
I think what's important is that each of the sisters all represent sort of different aspects of women and the way they're portrayed in society, and that just as much as it was important then, it still is now.
And like the bond of like the family as
a whole.
Yeah.
You say this is a musical and yet the themes sound quite serious. How does it adapt into the show?
I think Jo March is just so quirky that she kind of represents all the different types of all the different themes.
I think what's most interesting, she's very outspoken for the time for when it was written, so much that today it's, like we say, is just as much as relevant and important to portray.
Yeah, and the characters of the March sisters are based on a real life family. Louisa May Alcott based Jo March on herself, and all of the sisters are based on her sisters and her family and what happened to her father and how their parenting really was so different in that time. Her parents were very, very free and allowed them to have their own thoughts and allowed them to do things that weren't necessarily socially allowed in that time, and that's really reflected in all of the sisters and how they all behave. They're just all so different to what socially is expected of them.
The show itself, can you tell us a little bit about the show itself? I mean, what does it entail?
What entails between the sisters and the mother, and sort of entwines with various love stories and their challenges and everything that they face from just day-to-day life. It mostly based around Jo and her story writing, and she's very ambitious. She wants to do well with her sisters, and then each of the girls have their own sort of things that they face.
The time period is from 1861 to 1865, which is when the American Civil War was happening, and the March family, their father, was actually taken off to war to be an army chaplain. So it's all about how Marmee is dealing with having to raise 4 little women, with the father not being there, and having to, rely on other family members and other neighbours for help raising these children.
It's also, I'm taking a lot of this in. It's quite heavy, but
it's very real. That's why I think it's so important that we do this well, because I think it can relate to so many people and so many of the topics are so.
And it's a real life story that we're telling. These things all happen to an actual family. Amy at one point goes off to Europe to go travelling, and that actually happened to the character that she was based on.
Yes. Now, being a musical and not having music in the original text, who wrote the songs, and where does the music come from, and what would they kind of expect? Would it be kind of era specific kind of music, or is it a little bit different to that?
I think it has sort of
They're both.
Yeah, it has got a contemporary feel to it.
Like
but
your
then
song is particularly
legitimate.
But then I'd say Jo March in general is a very contemporary character, so then her song kind of reflects that.
And a lot of the music, I think, is the way it's written reflects each character. Yeah. So even when the specific character doesn't have something to sing, it's like they have their own little theme tune throughout the show. So that's really represented, and I think it helps all of us to be in character as well when we're on stage.
And it also helps the audience as well when there's background music that relates to a certain character. For example, Aunt March, whenever she comes on stage, there's a lot of background music and underscore to really set up the scene for, Aunt March is arriving.
How are you finding sort of dressing up in period dress and things like that?
Well, challenging, I think for me personally, it's the most challenging role I've had so far, because I'm 20 years old and I'm playing someone who's about 46, so it's quite difficult. But getting into corsets and stuff, I think it makes us our character. I think it builds our posture up, and we have a better understanding of how they were in that era.
We were lucky to get the corsets and the skirts that we might be wearing, or ones that resemble ones we're wearing very early on, so that we could definitely be practicing and rehearsing in the right attire, I think.
With the help of our choreographer Christian, he's really worked on our posture, and because
physicalisation.
The posture of ladies in this era, even though these women were definitely not, always adapting to social norms, they definitely had a different posture from young women as we do today. We all naturally slouch as young women, and to have a corset on that's very tight and long skirts that we'd never normally wear is it's a challenge, but
it's definitely helped.
Yeah. It's helped.
This has to be put into perspective that you've literally had about a couple of weeks, or you have a couple of weeks rehearsal when you turn it around. How hard is it to turn it around that quickly?
I think it all depends on the creative team and the backbone behind it. If we're so incredibly lucky to be working with industry professionals, and the creative team that we've got are so supportive. Everyone from the backstage crew, the production managers, the directors and choreographers, and the musical directors, they're so helpful. And without their expertise and guidance to help us put on this production, it wouldn't be what we've got it to in such a short space of time.
Without a doubt, if it wasn't for those people, we wouldn't be able to face half the themes that we do.
I think as well, it's like the atmosphere in the room, so you can tell, like when you walk in the morning, you can tell that it's such a happy vibe and that everyone just wants to be here, and everyone's feeling really lucky to have given an opportunity to be in this show. So yeah, it's a professional working atmosphere. It's also got to be understood that you're all students. Is that right? Okay, so which years are you in your respective courses?
Third.
We're all in our third year.
You're all in your third year?
Not everyone in the cast is in third year, but
the March family.
The March family are in our third
They needed
year.
experienced hands for that. Yeah?
Do you know what? I think it was so important, and we were very lucky that we all know each other well within our course. So
we're close friends outside of the rehearsal room, but to be playing a family, it's really helped that we're such close friends because we have that bond automatically. Of sisters. So.
And it means that when we're blocking it, like, we're not scared to do something to each other. It just, when you're comfortable with someone on stage, it just helps when you're blocking scenes.
I can see that because you're all looking at each other, and in some cases you know exactly what each other's going to say, even if I throw you a sideways question. So obviously you're performing at the Regis Centre, and some of you, I would imagine, have done that before, if not all of you. How is it different from, say, performing, rehearsing here as opposed to performing in the theatre? What's the difference?
Well, again, we're very lucky that we've had a lot of the set in place, so we know that the scale and the size of what we have to perform in. So in that sense, we should be okay to transfer everything over into that space.
The only challenging thing will be the rake.
Yes.
So the stage is like tilted, and we won't get a chance to do that.
It's not a huge height, but we know that with that, it will it'll
definitely be different from other productions. And dancing on a rake as well on the slanted stage, it throws your balance a little bit, and we're already thrown in our balance with the corsets and everything. So to do it on a tilted stage is going to be a challenge, but I think because the industry professionals that we've got in the room have all worked with these kind of productions before, and the rakes in the stage and everything, they know how to guide us in towards getting used to that.
Yeah, now if anyone was thinking about coming to see you, but perhaps were thinking of Little Women, it's just for women, or, the kind of stereotypes that they kind of have towards plays like that, being traditional, why can't I just read the book? Why should people come and see your production of Little Women?
The talent. The cast is so incredibly talented. There's not one person that didn't deserve their place in the cast. So purely for that, I'd say go see it.
I think as well it's the connection that people can have with the show, because a lot happens throughout it. That there's so many emotions that people can feel when they're sitting there and watching it. So I think it's just such a great story, and people deserve to watch it and enjoy it as well. It's very easy to tap into. I think everyone would have had something throughout their life that they think, wow, I've been through that, or
there's a lot of different journeys that each of the sisters and all of the characters go on. There's not just sad moments, but really happy moments and really joyous moments, marriages and babies and And also the sad moments, you know, there are some really sad points during the show, so people can connect with that. And like we said before, with the themes of the show, they're still very prominent in today's society. They're not just relevant to 1865.
Well, yes, we've already said that they're quite timely, you know, they're sort of timeless in some way. As I always say with these interviews, where can people come and see you, and when will they be able to get tickets and things?
Tickets are available now on the Regis Centre website. The show is being performed at the Regis Centre in Bognor Regis, and the shows are from the 19th to the 21st of April.
We have 2 shows on the Saturday. So on the 21st we have the matinee and the evening. So there's 4 performances altogether.
Thank you very much for coming on today. It's been great to talk to you, and all the best for the upcoming performance. I know it's only over 2 or 3 days, but it must be really grueling for you to be able to... How can you remember this stuff?
So the way that the rehearsal process works is that we get given our librettos and our scores a few weeks in advance prior to rehearsing, and we have to know all our lines before we walk into the rehearsal room.
I think because the cast is so dedicated, everybody wanted to be in this cast, and because everybody's so dedicated, the lines just came really quickly. And because of the close-knit of the cast, everybody helps each other out. So inside and outside of rehearsals, you know, people go home and could be up till God knows what time at night and rehearsing lines. So the dedication from the whole cast is always there.
And it's the research that you do before you come into the rehearsal room. So when you walk in, you already know your character. You've already built up your character outside of the rehearsal room. So when you come in, you can just go straight into blocking scenes and, yeah.
The creatives' help as well has been really, really helpful. The director, the choreographer and the musical director and everyone else on that team have been really helpful in terms of piecing characters together, and also the relationships that each character has with each other.
Yes. Have any of you got any solo songs or performances that you will need to do?
Each of us have our own
Little bits, we do.
So we're very lucky.
Yeah.
And they all mean a lot. A lot
There's
to
some
us.
beautiful musical numbers in it, solos and duets and things, and they're all, we all have a solo or a duet to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic. I do wish you the best of luck with your upcoming run at the Regis Centre, and all the best.
The Jamie Dyer Show.